Today is about Paul Daniel Frehley, commonly known as Ace, Space Ace and the Spaceman. We're going to laugh today, maybe cry a little, but definitely laugh more. We are not here to mourn the Spaceman. We are here to celebrate his life and his music.
You wanted the best. Well, they retired. So you got two dudes in a garage.
Talking KISS.
Welcome to the Hooligan Nation, a KISS-Centric Podcast, the podcast where the riffs are loud, but our opinions are louder. I'm Anthony.
I'm Rocco.
What's up, hooligans? We're going to skip all of the usual segments and make today's episode 100% about Ace and only Ace. Father Rocco. I'll dedicate that one to the Spaceman also. I wanted to start this podcast off with a conversation that you and I had probably about a year ago. I believe we were still filming in my garage at the time. And I think it was you that brought up, hey, these guys are getting up there in age. What do we do when they die? And I think I said, I don't remember exactly what I said, but I can remember kind of brushing you off and you not really arguing with me too much, because I think we both believed they were going to live forever. And it wasn't until October 16th that I think we both figured out no one lives forever, no matter who you are. Not even spacemen from Jendell live forever, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, KISS kind of keeps us connected to our youth. I mean, that's kind of where this started. So, in some ways, when I think of these guys, I'm still that kid. I'm still that little kid who looks at them as superheroes, indestructible. You know, people I look up to. They were my Batman. They were my Spider-Man. They were my Superman.
Battleborn is a collaborative effort among like-minded individuals and organizations intent on repairing and restoring people who have served our country. We do this by delivering a unique level of support and guidance to those servicemen and women who have emotional and psychological wounds. We provide support directly and indirectly in collaboration with others in our community who value those who have served this nation and its communities. For more information, go to wearebattleborn.com. Have you read Ace's obituary?
I saw clips. I didn't read the full thing, but I did sign a guest list of it.
All right. Well, for you and all the hooligans out there, I'll read the obituary in case anybody's interested. And if you're not interested, that's what the fast forward button's for. Ace Frehley, the guitarist, singer, and songwriter whose rocking guitar licks drove the iconic sounds of KISS, died October 16, 2025 in Morristown, New Jersey. He died after a recent fall at the age of 74. Frehley was the spaceman of KISS, choosing silver stars and stylized black lipstick as his signature makeup design. He was an indispensable part of KISS, explosive stage shows, wielding special effects guitars that emitted smoke and flames, blasted off pyrotechnics, or pulsed light in tempo with the music. And his guitar, vocals, and songwriting were all over the band's sound, blending with the work of his bandmates to create a heavy metal style that continues to influence rock music. His former bandmates remembered him after his death in a statement that said, in part, he was an essential and irreplaceable rock soldier during some of the most formative, foundational chapters of the band and its history. He is and will always be a part of KISS's legacy. Born Paul Daniel Frehley in the Bronx, New York City, he began teaching himself to play guitar as a young teen. He played in local bands in high school, but it wasn't until he was 21 that he found his way to the band that would make him famous. He came across an ad in the Village Voice looking for a guitar player with flash and ability. His audition was a success, and he and Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons, and Peter Criss formed KISS in 1973. Frehley decided to go by his school nickname Ace to avoid confusion with Stanley. Within a few months of their formation, the members of KISS had begun painting their faces in the stylized kabuki-type designs that would become iconic. Later that year, they secured a record contract, releasing their self-titled debut album in 1974. Though KISS didn't produce any major hit singles, it did include songs that are now considered among their classics: Strutter, Nothing to Lose, Black Diamond, and it included the first song Frehley wrote for the band, Cold Gin. He didn't yet feel confident about his own vocals, so Simmons sang lead on the track. The first few records for KISS were slow starters through their 1975 third album, Dressed to Kill, included the song that's now most indelibly associated with the band, Rock and Roll All Night. The popularity of that song was hammered home with their 1975 double live album, Alive, which included a concert version of the track. Alive represented a breakthrough for the band, and when they followed it in 1976 with Destroyer, they had truly arrived. It included the hits Shouted Out Loud, Detroit Rock City, and Beth, as well as another Frehley co-composition, Flaming Youth. In 1977, Frehley took his first shot at lead vocals singing Shock Me on the album Love Gun. The following year, all four members released their debut solo album simultaneously. Frehley's self-titled contribution outsold the other three, and it included the modestly successful single New York Groove. When KISS reconvened in 1979 for the album Dynasty, Frehley's vocals were more prominent than ever. He sang lead on 3 songs the Rolling Stones covered 2000 Man, as well as 2 tracks he penned, Hard Times and Save Your Love. But the band's popularity was waning, and Frehley was becoming frustrated with the direction he saw KISS taking. Increasingly, he stepped back from working with KISS until he officially left the band in 1982, the year before they famously began performing without the makeup. Frehley began assembling his own band, Frehley's Comet, releasing their self-titled debut in 1987. He wrote or co-wrote many of the songs on the album while sharing lead vocal duties with keyboardist and guitarist Todd Howarth. Frehley's Comet released the second album before Frehley returned to recording solo albums, most recently releasing the 2024 LP 10,000 Volts. In 1995, Frehley rejoined KISS for an MTV Unplugged appearance. This led to a 1996 reunion tour featuring the band's original lineup. He made minor contributions to the 1998 album Psycho Circus, then embarked on a 2000-2001 tour with the band before returning to a solo career. Frehley famously took his musicianship somewhat less seriously than his bandmates would have liked, indulging in vices and not always bothering to practice as frequently as others. In a 1994 interview with Mark Allen, he acknowledged this while also giving himself deserved credit for his broad influence in the rock world. A lot of people have come up to me and tell me, you know, if it wasn't for me, they would have never picked up a guitar. If I knew that I was going to be the case, I probably would have practiced a little more. Greats from the rock and roll world paid tribute to Frehley in the wake of his death, including many of those younger musicians whose careers were jump-started in part by his influence. Rage Against the Machine guitarist Tom Morello called Frehley his first guitar hero, saying the legendary Space Ace Frehley inspired generations to love rock and roll guitar playing. His timeless riffs and solos, the billowing smoke coming from his Les Paul, the rockets shooting from his headstock, his cool spacey on-stage wobble, and his unforgettable crazy laugh will be missed but will never be forgotten. Heavy metal band Anthrax said, seeing a kid from the Bronx become a worldwide guitar hero changed all of our lives. You shaped us into the musicians we are, and we're eternally grateful. Rock band Extreme said, For so many of us, he was one of the first reasons we ever picked up a guitar. And Pearl Jam guitarist Mike McCready noted, just listen to Alive. I used his solo from She as a template. Ace jammed on Black Diamond with Pearl Jam and Madison Square Garden, a dream come true for me. I would not have picked up a guitar without Ace and Kiss's influence. Frehley is survived by his wife Janet Trerotola, an Italian, killing an Italian last name,
Mm.
despicable, to whom he had been married since 1976, as well as his daughter Monique, brother Charles, and sister Nancy. Shouldn't be a dry eye in the house, in my opinion. So, Father Rocco,
Yes.
what's your earliest memory of Ace?
Well, it was a video, and I think I've said it many times. Like, out of all the songs, I think in my lifetime, I think one of the songs that affected me more than any song, and I'm a musician, so one of the songs that affected me more, I think, than probably any song, probably more than any other song. I don't know if I ever thought of it this way, but Ace is responsible for it. The song shocked me, did something to me. I don't know how to explain it. It made me feel like I could do that. It made me want to do that. I was mesmerized. And still to this day, if I see a video with Ace on stage playing Shock Me, everything that's in motion in my life stops and I watch.
I don't know why, but I feel like the earliest memory of Ace for me is, fortunately or unfortunately, is Phantom of the Park. I don't know why. I don't know why, but that I think that's the and I think that's the earliest memory for me because that's like where the superhero to me came out the first time. The
That's
actual superhero.
It's understandable.
My brother has to get a incredible amount of credit for my love of Ace, for my love of Kiss, for my knowledge also because
I'm
I
right there with you,
feel
bub.
I feel like my a certain part of my childhood was spent answering trivia questions and being tested.
Yeah.
And for the hooligans out there, look, we've spent 13, 14 months trying to get him to come on. He's
You
not
think
coming on,
you
but
think your brother still has his silver sneakers?
well, that's where I was going with this was my brother was such a big Ace Frehley fan. He had like a pair of white Nike high top sneakers. He went and bought himself silver paint and he painted these sneakers. And the funniest part of it all is he used to repaint the sneakers, I don't know, weekly, monthly. He wore those sneakers everywhere for years. And that was his homage to Ace. So we're talking about big Ace Frehley fan,
Oh
at
yeah.
least to me.
Oh no, big time. Listen, this is again it's another unique thing about Kiss. Another you think unique thing about Ace. Like we as fans, we did shit that you didn't do with like other bands. You put makeup on. You pretended you were them. Like they were the epitome of wanting to be a rock star. And Ace was the like where Gene was like the persona with the demon. Ace was the rock star persona. No disrespect to any of them. He,
Very funny,
yeah.
very funny. I were you done? Did I cut you off? Did
No, no,
I
that's
did I Father Rocco you?
you probably did, but it's okay
If I
because I
did,
think
I apologize.
but I think where you're going is going to add to what I just said, so I think it'll be okay.
I just heard recently, and look, there's so many things out there. YouTube, social media, just so many things, and I'm trying to watch and listen to all of them. So I don't remember where I heard this, but I heard recently someone was talking about Ace being the rock star of the band. And I don't think it was meant as a dig on Paul, but this person, whoever it was that was talking about it, said that Paul Stanley played a rock star on stage with Kiss.
Mm.
But Ace Frehley was the rock star. And
It
I
just,
think that that's poignant
mm, yeah, I
and
think so.
100% accurate.
Yeah, and it's not even a diss in any way. But like the other thing is, if you look at a dictionary and you want to see what a guitar god looks like in the dictionary, you see a picture of Ace with his smoking guitar bent, like leaning over. He was the epitome of what a guitar god is, a guitar hero.
Absolutely. I've also heard this in 100 different places in the last couple weeks. If you're going to put Eddie Van Halen on the pedestal, and you should, you better have two pedestals, and better put Ace on the other pedestal right next to him.
Yeah, I mean,
Because in a
influence
completely
wise,
different way,
yeah,
they are 100% equal.
Ace was the epitome of what a guitar hero. That's how you draw it up. I mean, where Eddie was inventive and he created stuff that nobody else was doing. Ace was
Inventive and
showing you how to,
created stuff
but
that
but he was also even more so than what he did on the guitar. He was showing you how to be that guitar god and that guitar hero. He did everything uniquely.
I mean, I love the story, and I'm sure you've heard this story before, but I love the story that Paul likes to tell about Ace being in the studio and the rings clanging off the strings,
Mm.
and Paul saying to him, you know, your rings are clanging off the strings, you should take them off. And Ace looking at him and telling him, that's part of my sound. Like, and it was.
It
And it
was.
was like I saw Ace, I don't know, probably 10, 15 times live between Kiss and when he was solo. And within the first song, you could hear the rings every time. Like it was almost a signature sound for him.
Oh, not a doubt. I mean, and
And
again, he set the bar for so many players after him, just like Eddie did.
yeah, I, they both should go on a pedestal, but they both have to go on a pedestal. If you're going to put Eddie on there, you
Well, you
need
know
to
why?
put Ace on there.
Another reason why they do is because, and we'll get to it. Think of some of the guitar players. Think of some of the rock stars that credit Ace as making them pick up a guitar.
Lot more than I expected,
Mm,
actually.
mm,
That's pretty much been the theme since he died.
right.
Is he was much bigger, influenced much more people, and was much more important to people than I think I ever realized until now.
Yeah, and you know the other thing.
Including me, who is notoriously unemotional. I've always looked at death like everybody's gonna go, so you know, um, why is it such a shock? And now, Ace's death changed everything for me
Yeah, I
because
mean,
it really had a profound effect upon me.
well, and that's the mark of a man too. Like I know I've said it before, but the one thing you don't want the day that you when you pass away is they have a wake or a funeral and there's like crickets and there's like two people there. I mean, the legacy that he left, I mean, he lived a full life and so many people pay homage to him. I mean, you should want to have that kind of an impact on the world walking this earth.
Yeah, I believe that his wife and daughter and brother and sister should be very proud, and I'm sure they are,
Yeah.
of the legacy that he left behind. Because I really truly believe it will live forever.
I get a lot of joy and love from playing guitar. I don't pick up a guitar without seeing Ace. I get a lot of my joy. A lot of my therapy goes to me playing guitar. And I didn't have that until I saw my guitar hero, Ace Frehley.
Never think that you're not special. I'm here to tell you, you are special.
Yeah, what
You
kind of
used
special?
you
Don't put
used
it.
to ride the short bus
Yeah,
to
I knew that was
school.
coming. There you go. Okay.
And once you're short bus special, you're special for life. Through the last week or so, 6 days, like I said earlier, I've been reflecting, and I got a couple things that may be cool, may not be, may be funny, may not be, that they're somewhat interesting and funny. For all the hooligans out there that don't know, I have 3 daughters. My oldest daughter is in her late 20s. My middle daughter is in her mid 20s. And my youngest daughter just turned 18 years old. So my middle daughter, who is the fashion plate, uh, from the time I can remember, nails always done, hair always done, makeup always done. Um, she likes fashion a lot, and she used to cut her clothes and paint her clothes and do things to make her original. And then one day, she came prancing down the stairs with one of my shirts, and she had cut it into a half shirt. And it happened to be my 1987 Fraley's Comet
Ooh.
t-shirt.
Wow.
Now, for those of you hooligans out there that are asking yourself, why the hell would he even have a t-shirt from 1987? I am notorious for having old clothes sometimes. So if you're looking at me on the screen, just understand I'm much smaller today than I was at 10, 11, 12 years old. So I have clothes. I specifically have a Raider sweatshirt that I got in the 8th grade, and I do still wear it once in a while, and it does fit. So yeah, she cut the Fraley's Comet shirt, and it's kind of funny because she walked down the stairs, and her mother looked like she saw a ghost because she knew. And I absolutely lost my mind. And I don't apologize for losing my mind over that. And you know, I might have screamed at her a couple times and said you're going to replace that. And I believe it was around Christmas, and they tried like hell and could never find a replacement for that. The only other thing I got for you guys, and you guys may find this interesting, Father Rocco, you may find this interesting, or you people may all think that I'm crazy. My oldest daughter was born on November 22nd, and I am a huge JFK fan. Don't ask me why. I can't really tell you why. I mean, I believe the movie JFK came out in 1991. I believe that I was a junior or senior in high school, and I watched that movie. And shout out Mr. Keimel, my English teacher. I needed to do this end of the year report, and he needed to figure out a way to motivate me to do it. So while everybody else in the class had to choose what subject, he chose the subject for me, and it was JFK. So that's how I became a huge JFK fan, I think. And my oldest daughter was born on November 22nd, which happens to be the day that JFK was assassinated. And then my middle daughter was born, and her date of birth is the date that Robert F. Kennedy was assassinated. Pretty freaky.
Mm.
At least in my world, it's pretty freaky.
Mm.
And my older daughters used to kind of make fun of my youngest daughter because she didn't have that. Well, folks, My youngest daughter turned 18 on October 16th, which happened to be the day that Ace died.
That's definitely freaky.
That's pretty freaky. Two Kennedys and the Spaceman. I don't know. I don't know if that's entertaining. I don't know if that's weird,
Yeah,
but
it's interesting. It's an interesting little thing there.
yeah, I thought it was interesting personally.
Yeah. I just want to say one thing. Like,
Oh, you say anything you want. This is your show, kid.
I had a lot of hope. We had gotten rumors. I had a lot of hope that he was going to be okay. I didn't even want to acknowledge anything more than he fell. People fall all the time, and I did not expect. And I'm assuming that it hits a lot of people the same way. I'm a lot of things. I'm not a quiet person. Nobody knows me. I don't like silence. I'm always making noise or put music on or TV, whatever. I'm not a silent, quiet person. When this happened, my sister's oldest he goes to Rutgers University, and we were going to see, he's a band guy, and he was in a show, and it was a decent ride to there. And I had gotten the news right before we got in the car to go there, and I was like in a fog the entire ride, not saying a word, and it was freaking people out because they would say something, and even if I was answering them, I would give like a quick answer, and then I'd go back to my fog again. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
cry. It hit me hard, and you know, we my title, they call me father. He calls me Father Rocco. I am very religious, and I believe in faith, and I believe he's in a better place, but it's hit me hard.
yeah, I have to agree with you. You know, one of the weirdest things that I did that day, at least that I thought was weird, was uh, everything's going on. The news is hitting, and it's coming in from everywhere. And I think I called you, and then I texted my brother. And it's not the fact that I texted my brother; it's the fact of what I texted. I literally texted, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, I did something similar. Like your brother was the first person I thought of. One of the first people I
I
thought of.
I don't know why. I don't know. Does that make me weird? Is that not weird? I mean, it's not like we were all close personal friends with Ace or anything,
It's
but
foundational memories.
legitimately, at some point, I don't know, 5 or 6 o'clock, I was like, oh my god, I should text my brother, and literally, it's like my thumbs were moving on their own. Are you okay? And it's funny because his answer was no.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I fully understood that
Hmm.
because I wasn't okay and you weren't okay,
No,
and I'm sure that there's hundreds of thousands of KISS Army members that also weren't okay, and I'm guessing some of them still aren't okay.
right, and that's why when people throw shade at Gene and Paul and think that it didn't affect them, they're not okay. I don't care what anybody says. I'll battle anybody on that. They're not okay either. They always say they were like brothers, and they got mad at each other. But don't think for 1 second their relationship with Ace was like their relationship with Vinnie. Doesn't There's no comparison there.
No, there is no comparison. There is none. And I agree with you. I don't think that Paul and Gene are okay. The only thing that I would say is I hope that they come out and talk about it.
Yeah, I do too.
Um,
To be
you know,
honest with you, the Kiss Army needed that.
it does. The Kiss
We need
Army
to
as
heal
a whole
together. We need to heal
needs to be
together.
reunited, and it's too late. I mean, let's be real. It it should have been done before something like this happened.
I know where you're going with that, and you're right. You're 100% right.
But
But
it is what it is at this point, and if you're watching us or listening to us, it's time we have to bury the hatchet. Like,
yeah,
all the things in the past, they got to stay in the past.
right.
Like, this is not going to make it any better. There's a lot of hate being thrown at Paul and Gene, and they deserve some of it. But anybody that thinks that Paul and Gene aren't, number one, hurting, and number two, aren't doing that what if, trust me, you're wrong.
Right.
I,
And
I, I am as sure can be that they're looking at each other like, we shouldn't have done that.
something else that I wanted to bring up to you because we've talked about this a lot. Ace was 3 miles away from you, right? I think it's safe to say we had some avenues where at some point there was a possible opportunity that we could have had Ace on our podcast at some point. Not that it matters. I'd rather him still be alive and never have him on the podcast, but that's not the point I'm making. Tomorrow is not promised.
Yeah, well, thanks
And
for
I'm
kicking me
just
when I'm down, but
no. What I'm
yeah,
saying, I want to make this point to you, to the hooligans, to
well,
myself. Like
well, make
tomorrow,
it make it to
tomorrow,
the hooligans because I understand where you're going with
right?
it.
I
I
mean,
agree.
listen. All I'm saying is, you can think I'm full of shit, and I don't want you to edit this out. Like I care about you guys. I care about my fellow man. And if there's something on your plate that you've always wanted to do, if there's a place you've always wanted to go, don't wait till tomorrow. Make plans now, because tomorrow is not promised. I believe in
Yeah,
a better place, but tomorrow is not promised. So if there's something you love on this earth that you're here when you're here now, live it.
yeah. So let me address this.
I'm sorry if I'm getting too deep,
No, no, no. You get as deep as you want. This is your tribute to Ace.
and I'm having a pretzel. I'm trying to lighten it up a little bit.
It's going to be a big regret, no matter how short or long lived this podcast is, that I chose not to even attempt to contact Ace because I felt like our podcast was too small and that he wouldn't be interested in it. And I waited till tomorrow, and now I have another regret to put in my regret bag and carry it around. And look, honestly, for us, I would have loved to have been able to sit down and talk to Ace with or without a camera, with or without a podcast. The podcast would have just been the platform to get him on. And I considered it a few times, and I said exactly what Father Rocco just said. Oh, we're going to get bigger over time, and when we get big enough, I'll contact his reps and see how it goes.
Right, and that's out of respect to him.
Yeah, well, I mean, if I was,
We don't want to
I
waste his
mean,
time if it's not going to be
yeah, I
somewhere
don't, I
where he
mean,
can promote something, or you know what I mean.
right. But that's another regret that I got to live with, and trust me, it ain't the only one. I got quite a few, but that's right now is a pretty big one. Hey, you want to get into something very cool?
Yeah,
You want to start this off with hooligan comments and statements?
absolutely.
We put it out on our Facebook page, and we put it out in our community page for any of the hooligans to make a statement or comment if they wanted to. And I think we got 11 or 12 of them. So I'm just going to go through them. Part of the reason why we're doing this is to recognize Ace, like I think every KISS podcast should do. And number two, we're trying to celebrate his life and trying to help each other heal from the loss of him. And I think the number one way we all heal is by talking about it. So we wanted to give the hooligans a platform to be able to say what they felt.
Absolutely.
So this comes from Mark Phillips 0473. Never met Ace, but have listened to him since I was 10. In my 50s today, his sound and style takes me away mentally, and I'm amazed how something like listening to him on a record can make me feel like a teenager again. Very true, Mark.
Nice.
Understand where you're
Thank
coming
you.
from.
Thank you,
Thank you
Hooligan.
for your comment.
Absolutely.
God of Thunder W3T, heartbroken at the loss of our ace, still speechless. So many great memories. Tika Car Music, this totally stunned me. I, like many, picked up an electric guitar because of Ace. I did not expect this. I will never forget Ace. It's hitting me pretty hard too. My thoughts and prayers are with Ace's family, KISS, and the KISS Army. I appreciate the guys that are left even more. She goes on to talk about Eddie Trunk giving out more details.
I like the comment about she appreciates the guys that are left even more. Like that. That's very eloquent. Thank you,
Yeah.
Hooligan. Yeah.
Brad Baird, 6526. Prayers for his family, gone too soon. Rest in peace, Ace.
Thank you, Hooligan.
We got a couple. We got a couple from KJ Nodwell. For those that you don't know, KJ Nodwell is a huge Ace Frehley fan.
And she's a Hooligan VIP.
She is. KJ Nodwell says, I remember being a little kid rocking out to Kiss in my bedroom, and when Ace's solo would come on, I would pretend I was him. Here I am, a 6-year-old girl, pretending to be a man in his 20s playing guitar. I don't think I need to say anything else. KJ, you don't need to say anything
That was
else.
great.
Pamplemousse 82322, another Hooligan VIP. Before I did work with Ace, I first saw him in concert in July 1987 in Hartford. It was really great. The concert was awesome. After the show, we went to the hotel the band was staying at and waited for the tour bus. When I pulled up, Ace got out. He went to me and said, Hi, Curly, and signed my Ace Kiss trading card. I asked if we could meet the band. He looked at me, started cackling, and said, Sure, you can, that Bronx accent, and called them off the bus. It was a great memory because it was my first time. There were other fans there too, and the band were very gracious with everyone. KJ Nodwell again. As a 6-year-old hearing Kiss for the first time in 76, Ace's guitar playing and super cool persona grabbed me immediately. I am absolutely crushed. Thanks for everything, Ace. Dan the Man 03, another Hooligan VIP.
Ozzy.
God bless the Spaceman.
Yeah.
Period. Well said, Dan the
Well,
Man.
well said. Yes.
Mark Phillips 0473 again. Rest in peace, Space Ace, my hero. Kathy U8V. Rest in peace, Ace with a heart. This one's a little long. This is also from KJ Nodwell. In September of 1979, Kiss appeared at Great American Music in Bloomington, Minnesota for an in-store meet and greet. I was 9 years old and my dad took me. There were tons of fans, of course. Ace was my favorite. I had a huge crush on him and couldn't wait to meet him. Well, when it was my turn, my nerves got the best of me and I pretty much froze up. Ace immediately sensed this and extended his hand, asking me my name. I shook his hand shyly, telling him my name, and told him how he was my favorite. He couldn't have been sweeter. He thanked me for the compliment, telling me that it meant a lot to him. Long story short, the band was told to wrap things up ASAP and that they could only sign one thing. I had my copy of Dynasty and Double Platinum, with Dynasty being the most recent release. I gave it to him so he could sign it. He noticed that I had Double Platinum tucked under my arm. He asked, Kelly, would you like me to sign that for you too? A man standing to his left said, Ace, only autograph one thing. We have to wrap this up. Ace immediately said, you just never mind. I'm talking to one of my fans here. He took my copy of Double Platinum from me and signed it too. He also thanked me for coming out to see him and told me how much he enjoyed meeting me. That's
But
an epic.
this is an example of celebrating the man.
And just so you guys are aware, somewhere on the screen at some point there will be a whole big thing of Ace Frehley trading cards. Um, that comes from Dan the Man all the way down under in Australia. That was one of his tributes to Ace that he wanted to have included in this episode. So we'll include that somewhere in post production. Father Rocco, what you got for celebrities?
I got a lot, so be patient with me here. So the first one I have is James Hetfield. The statement here: James Hetfield breaks down in tears after revealing his final moments with Kiss legend Ace Frehley, a heart-shattering tribute that has been left millions mourning worldwide. With his voice trembling, Hetfield spoke of the quiet conversation they shared just days before Ace's passing. Words filled with respect, laughter, and kind of brotherhood only musicians could understand. He wasn't just a guitarist, Hetfield said. He was fire that never went out. Like Alice in Chains, I have Jerry Cantrell, who's there's a lot of stuff about him talking about Ace, but this was posted in tribute on Instagram, expressing his grief over Ace Frehley's death, calling him an original, influential guitarist and 100% original personality whose playing was an extension of that personality. He highlighted how Frehley's playing, particularly on Deuce, was inspirational and that he was honored to have played with him, saying it was hard to believe the fingers that played on Kiss Alive were now the ones he was on stage with. Cantrell noted how Frehley was an ace and that he will miss him and the laughs that they shared. Slash from Guns N' Roses, hard to believe and process this devastating news today. Ace, I will miss you, and millions more will too. Rest in peace, my friend. One of the true great rock and roll guitarists, the Spaceman, has left the planet, he said. All right, next I have Neil Sean. Godspeed, Ace. My sincere condolences to all. Rest in peace. Journey opened up for Kiss back in the early 70s, and Ace and the band when they were up and coming. We played theaters with them, he said. I got Lita Ford. Lita Ford, Ace Frehley. She puts his date 1951 to 2025. Great rock stars never die. Rest in peace, Spaceman. We will miss you, she said. I have this one from Gary Sharon. There's quite a bit here, but I'm going to try to get through it quick. If you were lucky enough to grow up in the 70s, it's hard to describe the larger than life impact Kiss had on the entire culture. In an age that predates I Want My MTV and decades before anyone could ever imagine an instant a la carte of the internet, there was this teenage kid in the bedroom, every inch of the wall covered in posters, rock mags littered all around, oblivious to his parent telling him to turn that shit down.
Hmm.
Speakers distorting, headbanging, sitting cross legged on the floor, only having to get up every 15 minutes to flip the vinyl over and rock and roll over again, gazing into the gatefold of Kiss Alive 1 and 2, not fully comprehending what he is seeing: the demon, the star child, the Catman, and the Spaceman. This was more than music. It was an over the top spectacle for the senses. The production, lights, sound, hydraulic stages, costumes, makeup, my 7-inch leather heels, the blood and fire, the smoking guitar, and the iconic logo designed by none other than Ace himself. This one's from Rob Zombie. If you were a kid in the 70s, Kiss was everything. I bought Destroyer back in 1976 without having heard a single note and was blown away. In 2006, I was lucky enough to jam with Ace on God of Thunder at VH1 Kiss Honors, which was, if you haven't seen it, you need to see it. It's awesome. Yeah. A little weird since Kiss was also playing minus Ace, but still an epic moment for me. Rock on, Spaceman. Rest in peace, he said. Um, this is from Pearl Jam. Pearl Jam honored Ace by sharing that they spent untold hours talking about Kiss and buying Kiss stuff. And guitarist Mike McCready, which you had mentioned, you had referenced a little bit earlier, called Frehley a friend, a hero. McCready stated that Frehley changed my life and inspired him to pick up a guitar, even using Frehley solo on She, which you had said before. Um, the basically the band itself as a whole basically said rest in peace. The Spaceman was a great man and he'll be missed. There's a lot more. I don't know if you want to add some more stuff before I keep on going into more, but there's so much. There's so much of people paying homage and respect to Ace. Vince Neil Heartbreak. Ace will always be in our hearts. Rest in peace, my friend. This is Jason Hook. Jason Hook, huge Kiss fan, former guitarist of Five Finger Death Punch. He just states, "My heart is broken. I just received a message saying my hero, Ace Frehley, has died. I love you, brother. Thank you for the decades of great music. You are an inspiration to millions. See you on the other side." This is from John Five. I'm just going to give you the quick little snippet, but Johnny Five's been saying an awful lot. Every time he's been interviewed an awful lot for this. But Molly Cruz, guitarist John Five, I am so shocked and saddened by this that happened to my hero, my friend. I've known Ace since 1988, and we've been very close ever since then. Ace changed the world. He influenced millions of people and changed my life. Brett Michaels says he can't thank Ace enough for the years of great music, and he's looking back on all of the festivals they did, sending love and respect. Andy Biersack is honoring Ace for being in what he believes is the most important American rock band of all time.
I'm
Well said.
biased, but I would agree.
I would have to agree. Mike Portnoy, absolutely gutted to hear of the passing of one of my biggest guitar heroes. Ace Frehley was always the king of cool.
Yeah.
Amen, brother.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Yngwie Malmsteen, rest in peace, Ace. Def Leppard, sad news about Ace. He was long gone when we got to know the Kiss guys, but he left his mark on their music. His first solo album made waves too. Fractured Mirror is a great instrumental, and his New York groove hit the spot more so than any other version of that song. Rest in peace, Spaceman. This is from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. In memorandum, Ace Frehley was the co-founder and original guitarist of the 2014 inductees KISS, known for his distinctive licks, flashy pyrotechnics, and his alter ego. The Spaceman Frehley also contributed lead vocals on songs such as Shock Me and Rocket Ride, and he wrote or co-wrote such memorable riffs-driven songs as Cold Gin and Parasite. When the four members of KISS all put out solo albums in '78, Frehley was the biggest seller, driven by the hit single New York Groove. After Kiss had a successful solo career and released two albums with his own group, Frehley's Comet, a crucial part of a band that inspired a generation of hard rockers to pick up instruments, Space Ace will be remembered as one of the most recognizable and influential guitarists of all time. Carmine Apiece. Rest in peace, Ace. He was a good guy. Eddie Ojeda from Twisted Sister. I'm really saddened about the passing of my Bronx brother Ace. This really took me by surprise yesterday, and I'm at a loss for words. May he rest in peace. I will miss him terribly. Here's a photo we took after we played together at Carnegie Hall for a benefit show, and the clip from that show we did 15 years ago. I really miss you, brother. Nikki Six. He's holding up an Ace of Heart card, playing deck of cards. Rest in peace. Go give him hell up in heaven.
Or
That sounds
Jandel.
Yeah, that sounds like something Nikki would say. All right. The last one I have here, and there's plenty more, but this is the last one that I have for right now. And it's probably an appropriate person to have be the last one. Alice Cooper says the worst part of being an aging rock star is watching your friends die. Following the death of Ace Frehley on Thursday, October 16th, Alice Cooper took up to Instagram to pay tribute to Kiss guitarist. Again, the worst part of being in rock and roll at this point is the fact that some of our fraternity have just reached the age where they're leaving the planet. Some of the guys that started 30, 40, 50 years ago are starting to go. And of course, Ace Frehley from Kiss, one of the pioneers, one of the great guitar players out there. Ace was an absolute guitar hero to so many people. I did more tours with him than anybody else as far as opening for us for quite a long time. So we became quite good friends. And he always brought it every night. He did it every night. And it's just hard to see somebody like that go. We know that right now that Kiss fans are certainly in mourning, and certainly his family, and certainly everybody that knew him. Ace was an ace. Rest in peace.
Yeah, that's the one that got me.
Yeah, I started losing a little bit there.
Yeah, that one got me when I first read it too.
And there's other stuff out there from not even just the rock and roll world. There's movie stars. There's all kinds of stuff. There's so much more stuff we could have dug up, and I'm sure stuff that you hooligans have seen already too. Again, anything else that you think we may have missed that you want to put in the comments, definitely put them in the comments. Um, Again, this is a celebration of a man that impacted so many lives in a positive way.
Absolutely. Look, I know that was tough for you to do, so thank you for doing that for everybody. I gave myself what I think is the hardest part, by the way, so
Yeah, I know where you're going with this. Yeah.
I will read the statements by band members and ex-band members and uh, and those connected directly to Kiss. I'm going to start with Vinnie, and the reason why I'm going to start with Vinnie is because, well, I like to beat Vinnie up all the time, especially recently. And if nothing else, I tried or I try to be fair. Vinnie says, to Ace and to all, gone too soon, the loss of a loved one. I wanted to say the right words that could describe the loss of a loved one, but nothing I could muster would begin to comfort the millions of fans who idolized, worship, and adored Ace, the man and the legend, and make their pain go away. Ace's passing brought back many long miles away to the beginning of my own journey, strangely replacing Ace and Kiss, a band whose music I knew little about, aside from a few radio singles, and had no fan interest in. Aside from the magnitude of their massive success, yet I wanted it more than life itself. My religion as a 12-year-old were the Beatles, which was 10 years earlier than the Kiss beginning of 1974. My addiction grew from the Beatles to Zeppelin, Jeff Beck's jazz rock fusion of the 70s. So I was a decade early in sharing the nostalgia with the Kiss fan base, who as adults will forever embrace Kiss through their own childhood memories. Yet in the strangest twist of irony, I found myself replacing Ace as Kiss guitarist in an odd, couple gone berserk sitcom like setting, writing songs and rehearsing with the revamped Kiss with Eric Carr on drums and being served contracts to sign as Ace's replacement, wondering in disbelief how the hell in the world did this happen. Here I was stepping into the bigger than life legend Ace Frehley's boots, which was similarly to learning to walking on stilts. Once I got used to them, it became as normal as playing my guitar. Oddly, my one and only encounter with Ace was in 1982 at the video shoot for I Love It Loud. In utter disbelief, the band whose records I was unfamiliar with were recording a song Gene and I wrote, and here I was, the new kid, watching the magical persona Ace on stage rocking out to a song I wrote. Surreal.
Mm.
Way past that, I remember knocking on Ace's door to his dressing room to introduce myself and say hi. I was nervous meeting the bigger than life legend himself. I was green, lost for words, and overwhelmed by Ace's presence and the magnitude of fame Ace achieved in his amazing career. Yet in my one and only fleeting encounter with him, I read a person who lost their heart. His only words to me were, "Hey kid, good luck. You're gonna need it." He was more right than he could have imagined. We shook hands and wished each other luck and said goodbye. Those are the only words I ever shared with Ace from 1982 until we met again in 2022 for a memorable music performance weekend in Nashville. During those years, I never heard from Ace. We never crossed paths. Not unusual for me, as I'm not a social person. But suddenly it all changed in 2022. Ace and I shared a belated moment of bonding that felt good, real good. No pretense, we liked each other. We came full circle from our beginning handshake in 1982 to meeting up for a very special Kiss Legacy show in Nashville. It was a weekend I will forever remember fondly, shared with Bruce Kulick, Ace, Peter, Criss, and myself as band members coming together for the first time in support of our individual legacy as we gave tribute to the band we were historically intertwined. The greatest band in the world, known as KISS, the band whose sum was greater than its parts. Could words adequately eulogize the legend of Ace Frehley? I think not. To me, a legend is all encompassing and all consuming. embracing the heart and soul and mind of their individual audience. A legend is everlasting, emoting the same fan pride, well being, and warmth to the person they have touched through their artistry, through the passage of time. Through light and dark, the effect of the artist remains steadfast in the fans he touched. Even during Ace's more difficult moments, his legion of fans did not abandon him. They stood with him and cheered him on to let Ace know they had his back and to show Ace he was loved no matter what. You can't buy that. Ace brought the gift of everlasting childhood to all the fans who loved him. Everyone felt that way about Ace, from rock stars, music gear companies, and fans alike. Everyone loved him. Ace was the everyman rock star. Ace's journey here is complete. He has walked through the portal into eternity, a door we all walk through at some point. But what he leaves for all of us here are the images, the recordings, the performances, the happy memories of Ace the person, the man, the musical works, and a magic character persona that was loved by everyone, young and old, alike, and a stage presence that will live forever. I'm forever proud and grateful to have shared the same KISS forever legacy as Ace. We were one hell of a great band. Cheers, my friend. You will be sorely missed by everyone and by me. I will hurt as I'm hurting now. Love, light, and peace. Vinnie Vincent.
Nobody can ever say he's not a good writer.
You know, I'm
he's
not.
he's an eloquent speaker.
Good job, Vinnie.
Yeah, good job.
For all the classless things that you have done and said in the past, you might have just made up for him right there. Next up, Eric Singer paid tribute to Ace Frehley, stating that he was a true original who helped define the sound and image of KISS during the band's rise to fame. He noted that fans would remember Frehley for his iconic opening notes and lightning bolt guitar. Tommy Thayer paid tribute to Ace Frehley, calling him a legend who will never be forgotten and a major inspiration for guitarists, including himself. Thayer shared his thoughts on social media, noting that it had been an honor to walk in his footsteps. Bruce Kulick stated that the news of Ace Frehley's death is devastating and has deeply affected him, calling Frehley an iconic and one-of-a-kind guitarist whose role in the success of KISS cannot be forgotten. He also noted that Frehley was a close friend and a life mentor to him, expressing his love and heartbreak over the loss of their lifelong friendship.
No, that's well said. I didn't know Bruce and him were that tight. That's really well said. And Tommy Thayer, I knew that they were that there was a big connection there. So I thought that was very respectful. Both of them are really well said.
I did too. The statement from Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons. We are devastated by the passing of Ace Frehley. He was an essential and irreplaceable rock soldier during some of the most formative foundational chapters of the band and its history. He is and will always be a part of KISS's legacy. Our thoughts are with Jeanette, Monique, and all those who loved him, including our fans around the world.
One thing that was actually very nice to know is that Peter Criss was with Ace. Peter Criss and his wife, they were together. They were together when Ace passed away. Like Peter, it was a nice thing to hear that Peter was by his side.
I got one just from Gene. Our hearts are broken. Ace has passed on. No one can touch Ace's legacy. He added that Frehley would have been honored at the Kennedy Center Honors in December, and that he was the eternal rock soldier. And finally, Peter Criss stated that he is heartbroken and deeply saddened by the death of Ace Frehley, referring to him as his brother and confirming that he and his wife were with him to the end. Criss expressed his love for Frehley and asked that fans respect the privacy of Frehley's family as they grieve. He also expressed solidarity with the fans, telling the KISS Army and Ace's rock soldiers that his heart is with them. I don't know where to go from there. I really don't. We really didn't do much planning for this episode because we kind of felt that it shouldn't be something that was over planned. So if we're all choppy and all over the place, well, that's because we both feel all choppy and all over the place. Any final thoughts?
I think the best way to sum it up is the mark of a man's life is how he's remembered, and by the people that pay respect. And so many people outpouring of love, so many people he touched in so many ways. You should want to walk this earth impacting so many people in so many ways.
I definitely think he accomplished that. To Ace, you are a legend. You are a superhero. You are everything to a lot of people. So my hope is that people also love Paul Frehley, the person, the man. No, he wasn't perfect. Yes, he battled a lot of demons. But let's not forget, he not only battled those demons, but he beat them. And he was productive and positive all the way to the end. As KISS fans, as the KISS Army, as the Hooligan Nation, let's all band together and choose to remember all the positives. Let's remember all of his work. Let's remember all of his pictures. Let's remember all the concerts that we ever went to. And if you do nothing else, after you shut this video off, spend a minute and say thank you. Because he's back on Jendel, probably where he belongs. And he's probably smoking a guitar right now. On behalf of Father Rocco and I'd like to say thank you. As much as we love all you guys, and we hope you liked the video, and we hope you hit the like button and subscribe and make comments and do all of that. It was kind of unspoken between Father Rocco and I that we needed to do this for us. But we're both hurting. And it's not going to go away anytime soon. But we all have to move on. And that's what Father Rocco and I are going to do. And we encourage all of you Ace fans, KISS fans, to do the same thing. Let's choose to remember the good parts, because there were many more good parts than there were bad parts. So with that being said, we're going to cut out everything else. I'm not looking to sell you on a podcast or get subscribers or anything out of this.
Yeah, rest in peace, Ace. Rest in peace. Hopefully, we know you're in a better place and you'll be missed. But at least we got plenty of things that you left for us to pay attention to.
Let's all lead with love for Ace. Take care of him and take care of each other. Rest in peace, Ace. Peace out, Hooligan Nation.
I'm the trap player. All spaced out. No, actually, I'm a plumber.
Got a little piece of pipe backstage I'd like to have you work on.
Tell me about it.